In the world of desktop gaming CPUs, there are a lot of options, but which ones should you actually consider for your gaming PC build? Which ones provide awesome performance, and which ones should you plainly avoid? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be putting together the ultimate desktop gaming CPU tier list for 2025 and beyond, looking at the current lineup of processors from AMD and Intel, including some of their last gen options, which can present really great value for money in the current market, and talking about right now which ones actually represent good value for money for the performance on offer and the ones that plainly don't. Let's do this. Corsair Custom Labs is here and supports a wide range of products and components, now including PC memory. Simply choose your desired Vengeance RGB configuration of speed and capacity and pick from one of the amazing custom designs. Whether you're into sci-fi or this amazing variation of Cherry Blossom, there's a myriad of options to pick from. You can match your peripherals with the same Custom Labs design too for a fully unified gaming setup, and even configure multiple product designs at once with live renders. Learn more about Corsair Custom Labs and check it out for yourself at the first link in the description below. Now, I've got here a load of CPUs from AMD and Intel. I've got the entirety of AMD's current Ryzen 9000 lineup. That ranges from their cheapest 9600 all the way through to the top-end 9950 X3D. And I've also included a couple of their 7000 series chips that are currently still widely available at good prices, and even older 5600 chip, which I want to talk about later. Now, on Intel's side, I've got their Core Ultra 5, the 225, 235, and 245K, their Core Ultra 7, 265K, the 9, and I've even included the last gen 14700 and 14900K, again because I think they might be worth considering for some of you. Now, we've got 5 tiers, and this is where this thing can get quite controversial. So let's start off with the cheapest CPU, with AMD's Ryzen 5 5600. In many ways, for me, this is one of the best CPUs ever. It's got to be like more than 3 years old at this point, and still represents great value for money. It's currently on Newegg for about $125, but latest pricing will be down in the description below. And for that, it's fantastic. It offers up a good amount of gaming performance for 1080p, and while it definitely does lag behind a bit more nowadays than it did before, I do think it's a pretty great option. Now, next up is the 7500F. Now, this is a CPU that was kind of China exclusive, was very difficult to get your hands on. It's now become a bit easier. And in many ways, it's a really lovable CPU because it's AMD's entry-level Ryzen 5 chip that sits on their current AM5 architecture, aka it uses the latest socket and motherboards. Now, because it's a bit harder to get hold of, I think I'm going to put it in the B tier for now. And because when you look at the price difference between this and our next CPU, the 7600, you'd be surprised actually now at how close those chips have got. Now then, the 7600 for me, this has got to be up there. I think it's got to be in the S tier. It's such a great value CPU. Again, it's been around for a little while, but it uses AM5 socket, you get DDR5 memory support. In many ways, it's a lovely chip. Now, 7600X, where are we going to put this? If you can't find the 7600, some regions, the 7600X is actually cheaper. In that case, it would be up here. But for me, I think I'm going to put it with the 7500F. Currently in the UK, the 7600 non-X is a lot cheaper, and in the US, it's a similar story. So that is why I'm kind of sorting them in that way. Now, the next one's tricky, the Ryzen 7 7700X. This is a CPU from AMD that I really struggle with. Their last gen 7700X and the current gen 9700X give you extra cores, which is great, but the gaming performance is just not that good. And for the money that they cost, you're kind of better off getting a 7800X3D instead, which is a bit more expensive, but at least doesn't sacrifice gaming performance in the pursuit of core count. 7700X is cheap though, really cheap nowadays. That redeems it a bit. I'm going to put it in C. Next up, the 7800X3D. I think this is easy, isn't it? Straight up to the top. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about the 9800X3D, which I'll get to later? Isn't that a better CPU? In terms of raw performance, the answer is yes. But at the price you can currently grab a 9800X3D, let's just see at the time of filming how much the 7800X3D is going to set you back. Oh, it's gone up. So $420, although there's one here for $349, 9800X3D, that's going to cost you 476. I have seen the 7800X3D be a piece cheaper than that, and it's still one of the fastest gaming CPUs on the market. So for now, it's in the S tier on the basis of value for money. Now, as I say, that seems to have worsened a little bit. There's some sales going on right now. We've got like Newegg's Fantas Tech at the time of filming. We've got Amazon Big Deals Day, and of course, we're getting closer to all those, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, which I think could be quite interesting. Now, next up, Ryzen 5 9600. This is difficult. When you look at the performance of the 9600 versus the 9600X, there's not much in it. But some viewers of this video in some countries will be going, James, the 9600 non-X, what are you talking about? Does such a thing exist? Here in the UK, yes. But again, in other regions, it's more tricky. For me, I'm going to say that it's in the B tier. It's a pretty good CPU, but its availability is going to cause some problems. Now, next up, the Ryzen 5 9600X. It's got to be A for me. I don't think it's as legendary as the 5600. However, for the price it now is, and for the fact that Intel has got nothing to compete, as we're going to see in a minute, it's got to be up there. It's a really great CPU. If you're gaming actually at high resolutions, there's some really interesting data you can look at, which shows that the 9600X is not actually that much slower than a 9800X 3D at the point where your GPU bottlenecked. At low resolutions, where the CPU makes a bigger difference, you can see from these benchmarks that the 9800X 3D really helps. But tune the resolution to 1440p, and this improvement diminishes. Move up to 4K, and actually, I wouldn't quite say it disappears, but for the money the Ryzen 9600X is going to cost you, it really is remarkable. It's a great CPU, even for up to a 9070 XT, and isn't going to introduce too much bottlenecking, as I say, at those resolutions above 1080p. Now, before we carry on with our AMD processors, let's have a look at our Intel stack, because, it gets complicated. Now, in order to actually fairly appraise these Intel CPUs, we need to look at current pricing, because I feel like Intel, maybe that's the redeeming factor for them. So let's start off with the 245K. So this is their 5-tier CPU, and look at that. Performance here, obviously not as good as we were hoping when the lineup first landed, but price, you can currently get it for $224 minus a $35 promo code. So that's $190. Compare that to the 9600X from AMD at $204, but a $5 promo code. It's actually about $10 cheaper. There are some downsides. Power consumption's higher, but you do get more cores. So if you want to do things like video editing, a bit of rendering, a bit of streaming, it might actually be that the 6 performance and 8 efficiency cores on here actually do you a favor. You've got to remember, Core Ultra wasn't disappointing necessarily because the chips were all horrendously bad and everything was terrible. They just weren't that exciting and didn't really improve in terms of actual frame rates in games over the last gen 14th core lineup. What Intel fixed was power consumption, heat output, both of which were massive problems in their previous gen 12th, 13th and 14th lineup of CPUs, which all had those kind of problems. So $190 with the promo code, I'm going to put it above our 7700X, I think. I think that's fair for now. I don't think it quite needs B tier, but let's see. Next up, the Core Ultra 5 225 and 235. So let's have a look. The Ultra 5 225, that's $199. That makes no sense. That's more than the 245K. The 235, that's going to be $290 apparently. Have Intel just given up on these cheaper CPUs? They're just like, no, we're just going to trash the price of the Core Ultra 5, 235K instead. Yeah. They're going in the bottom tier. I'm sorry. Sorry, any Intel fans. The Core Ultra 7. Now, this could be an interesting one because the Ryzen processor we talked about earlier, the 7700X from last generation, and also the 9700X from this generation, are both a bit underwhelming. They both exist to give you more cores, but actually, don't give you great gaming performance, and you only get 8. On the Ultra 7, you actually get 8 performance plus 12 efficiency, so you're on par in terms of those full-fat cores, but the extra 12E cores will also really help. At $283 minus the $35 promo code and a free MSI liquid, you get a free 360ml cooler. What? Now, this is just Newegg. I'm using this as a reference. In the UK, I know pricing on the Core Ultra 7 lineup is also really, really cheap. And outside of Newegg, I know that prices are good as well. This is just my indicative example. Now, I think the Core Ultra 7 is actually a decent processor. I think it belongs up here in the B tier. I don't think it's better value or a better proposition than the 96, the 7600X, certainly not. However, if you want a high core count system and you want a build that you can do more than gaming on, I actually think this thing is pretty good. Now, the Core Ultra 9 285K, that's a hard one for me. The performance of this obviously was a little disappointing. And on the top end Halo product, That's the most important factor. It comes in currently with the promo code at about $580. Now compare that to the 9900X from AMD, and that's going to set you back $400. The 9950X, that's going to set you back $550 with a $5 promo code. I think probably it's going to slot in with our Core Ultra 5. I think if you want top-end performance, you want all the cores particularly, you're going to go for it. But for gaming, as we're going to come to in a minute, there's definitely some better options. Now let's go back to AMD. AMD, Intel, AMD, Intel. Right, anyway. So next up, the 7900X. This is last generation's Ryzen. That should say Ryzen 9. Let's pretend that says Ryzen 9 7900X. Now, this is a hard one. Again, pricing's going to play a big part. Let's have a look at the moment how it stacks up. You can grab one for $310 with the promo code. Okay, I think it's a value proposition. I don't think it's necessarily extraordinary. Now, the 9700X, disappointing for me. I've explained this previously in this video. Same with the 7700X. It's slower than a 9600X in most gaming scenarios, and that's really, really disappointing. You want a higher core count CPU for the same or less money, buy the Core Ultra 7. I'm afraid it's marginally better than the 7700X, but not by a great deal. 9950X, AMD, this should also say Ryzen 9. I have made an absolute, for our next two CPUs, I can't use Photoshop. That should say Ryzen 9, and that should say Ryzen 9. We'll fix that in post. My editor is going to hate me for that, so sorry. Anyway, moving on. Ryzen 9 9950X, where are we going to put that? Now, AMD did a good job in terms of their top-end CPU. You still have competition from the Core Ultra 9 in terms of that raw performance at the top. And unfortunately, the 9950X gaming performance isn't fantastic, which they did fix with the X3D, but we're not talking about the X3D. We're talking about the 9950X. For me, I'm going to put it probably at the top of the B tier. I think that's where we're going to be. Now then, the Ryzen 9 9900X. Not as good as the 9950, costs you a good chunk less money. It's not a terrible CPU. It's better, I'd say, than the 7900X on value. So for me, I'm going to put it, again, in the B tier. Now, 9900X3D. Again, this CPU, it feels like it sits in no man's land a bit. If you want gaming performance and you don't need all the extra cores, you go for the 9800X3D. If you want really good gaming performance and all the cores possible and you want to spend loads of money, you go 9950X3D. 9900X3D, not awful, not fantastic, bottom of the A or top of the B, in my opinion. Now, the 9800X3D. The GOAT of CPUs. This thing is just the best. I mean, look at the data. It tops nearly every chart, and every chart it doesn't top is topped by the 9950X3D. It's right up there for me, and for the price, this thing is exceptionally good value for money. And I would say AMD have done a sensational job. The 9950X3D is also good. I think it belongs at the bottom of the S tier, but still in the S tier. Why? Because if you want the absolute best performance in gaming and multi-core, it's what you're going to buy. It's expensive. For gaming, the 98 is going to be absolutely fine, but I do think that it deserves to be up there. And I'm really pleased AMD decided to bring out higher end X3D chips this generation as well. Two curveballs then to finish off, the 14700 and 14900K. I've included these on the off chance that there might still be some stock of them left in the market and that the pricing might be good. 14700K, that's at just over $300 with the promo code. 14900K, that's going to cost you about $470, again with the free liquid cooler right now, apparently. Now, these CPUs represent good value for money, but they're full of caveats. The power consumption and heat output are really, really high, and although they provide better performance in some instances than the Core Ultra CPUs that have replaced them, there are just too many trade-offs to be made for me. The 14900K could be a shout if you want something that's going to provide cheap performance at a good price. The 14700K is a little better, but I still don't think it's going to beat out AMD's Ryzen 7 tier CPUs. So that then is my 2025 CPU tier list. Do you agree with what I've put together? Do you think there's anything that I missed? I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.